Link engaged.
Visit us at teamspeak.com.
So, here we are, it is game number 1 on Metalopolis. It is vileSyNc as the purple Protoss here at the 6 o'clock position, and close by air his Protoss opponent is RaNgeD as the teal Protoss player. So Protoss versus Protoss will be changing pretty soon because of patch 1.4, which is currently on the PTR servers. Some important changes will be made to the vision on the ramp. What can you see, what can you not see anymore, and of course to the timing of the blink research, which gets changed pretty soon. Now let me talk a little bit about RaNgeD. RaNgeD is a guy who plays a lot of those weekly cups, which are very common on the European servers, and there he's quite successful, was able to win some of those cups. And of course, when you play on those European tournaments, on those weekly cups, you have a lot of competition going on. There's very tough to get far into this tournament, so it's always a good way to practice your playstyle in a competitive environment. Now, Sync is here at the 6 o'clock now, just going for his gateway number 1. The gateway timing for RaNgeD is currently the same. And we are not just yet sure what we can see coming up from those two guys. Nowadays, of course, a 4-gate is always a possibility to go for. Another option, of course, is also that we can see a 3-gate Stalker rush, 3-gate into Blink Stalkers, and of course mid-game PvP, those Blink Stalkers in addition to some Observers. Now, what is the close air position play for a role? It doesn't really need to mean much. Of course, when you are on close air compared to cross positions, it's very easy to attack your opponent right away if you can use those Blink Stalkers in addition to an Observer. So we have to see where this is going. The energy on both of the next side of the player is basically the same, so they're for now not going for a different strategy at this very moment. Now RaNgeD is scouting the base of Sync here just fine. He sees everything he needs to see, that there's one gas, not a second one. And now of course the Zealot is chasing the probe away pretty soon. Still, because of the fact that the probe is a little bit faster than the Zealot, this probe still can stay in the base of its opponent without getting killed if you have the proper control. Yeah, RaNgeD just needs to make sure that it's not killed by a Stalker or a Sentry, and the Stalker is what Sync is producing right now. We can see also that Sync is leaving the base of RaNgeD, took a little bit of damage, but shields are regenerating, so not that big of a deal for him. And now we can see the first different builds coming up from both players. RaNgeD already has finished his simulator. Meanwhile, the simulator for Sync is just halfway done right now. And there is the first interesting thing coming up by RaNgeD. RaNgeD is going for the robo facility. Meanwhile, Sync is just adding a second gateway, so it will not be a 4-gate against 4-gate build coming up by both players. Sync still has got some minerals and some gas left, so he could go for another building. Which building will it be is what we find out pretty soon. Now RaNgeD is... oh, very good shot with the Stalker. Is able to kill this Stalker who is up the ramp in the last second, so very good for him taking out this Stalker early on in the game. Now we can see that Sync is now going for the Twilight Council, so 3-gate opening into Twilight Council, standard classic Blink Stalker opening coming up by Sync. Meanwhile, RaNgeD is chrono boosting out his Observer already. He wants to fly over to the base of Sync to see what is going on. Now his second gateway finished, and he's going for the Twilight Council and a third gateway as well. So the blink for Sync will be finished a little bit faster. On the other hand, RaNgeD will have the vision of his opponent right away. So with this Observer on the field, he will be able to scout what is going on right now. The blink for our friend Sync will take another 80 seconds here. There he's also adding his fourth gateway. Meanwhile, the blink for RaNgeD just started. Of course, if you can get out enough forces to defend right away, you should be good. RaNgeD also has a sentry to delay the forces of SC2 a little bit, assuming SC2 will go for an early attack. Now SC2, even with this Stalker, checking the base of his own natural expansion to see if there are any proxy pylons. One unit he is spotting right now is probe, takes out the probe at the bottom right, high ground expansion, so no proxy pylons possible. Now RaNgeD with his observer, he sees everything, he knows that SC2 has got the 4 gates. One thing he does see also is the Twilight Council, so he might be aware of what is up pretty soon, because SC2 is now moving out. He's got a lot of Stalkers and 2 Zealots to attack pretty soon. RaNgeD, on the other hand, he's got an Immortal out, a little bit, and actually quite a lot of Zealots, only 3 Stalkers and 1 single Sentry. The Sentry does have enough energy for 2 Force Fields or 1 Force Field and a Guardian Shield. Proxy pylon coming out by SC2. There he's moving up with the probe to see what is going on, what units RaNgeD does have, and now it is going down pretty soon here. There are the Zealots being blocked by the force fields of the Sentry. No vision on the high ground possible here for SC2. And RaNgeD is following this up with a Dark Shrine right now. So the Dark Shrine needs another 80 seconds to finish. So the longer he can hold off the attack of SC2, the better the position for RaNgeD will be. But there, SC2 gets in a single Zealot. Not doing too much though. He is a little bit too afraid of blinking up to the high ground. And it looks like the Zealot is getting out. Very passive play by both players at this very moment. Now he's queuing up the Zealots, going up the ramp once again, and now he is blinking in. The Immortal is getting focused right away. The Zealots doing a lot of damage to the other Zealots, but they are out of position, and SC2 doing a good job taking out one unit after another, and pretty soon he should be blinking down to the low ground, and this is exactly what he's doing. So very cost-effective play here by SC2 right now. When we take a look at the units lost tip, still SC2 is the one behind. In the end, he just lost a couple of Stalkers, a little bit, 1 or 2 Stalkers too many. But now it's a little bit different, because RaNgeD got his first DT out. There is the DT walking over to the base of SC2, and SC2 immediately realizing, oh, the DT is out, does not even need to get attacked. He just saw the shimmering. GG is called, and RaNgeD is taking game number 1 here in the semifinals. Opponent SC2 is up to, so he knew, okay, I just need to survive for a certain amount of time, and then I will be able to strike with my DTs. His observer was in the base of SC2 the whole time, so he knew no cannons on the ground. He knew that there was no robo being made, so it was a pretty easy victory actually for him. He had enough units to hold off any early attacks, and the Blink Stalkers. He lost the Immortal. His Zealots were out of position, but no big deal. As soon as you have the DT and no detection is up, it is an absolutely easy win here for RaNgeD. Of course, this whole event is sponsored by TeamSpeak. They were sponsoring a lot of Team Liquid Opens in the past, and of course, if you have a great sponsor providing some help to get those tournaments running, it's always a great thing. Now, this was game number 1, and game number 2 will be up right after this.